For this lesson, we will be baking a cake. Don't worry, you didn't stumble onto a cooking video by accident. We will be using the cake to help you understand physical and chemical changes, and show you which of these changes can be reversed and which cannot. For our demonstration, we will need some ingredients, like eggs, sugar, butter, flour, and of course chocolate frosting. As for tools, all we really need is a baking pan, bowl, and a wooden spoon to stir everything together. Let's start with the eggs. As you can see, each of our eggs is white and has some mass, which we know because it's an object that we can hold in our hand. Characteristics like color and mass are called physical properties, which we can define as characteristics that can be seen and measured. We can identify physical properties for all types of matter, including all of the ingredients and tools we will be using to bake our cake. For instance, our wooden stirring spoon has density, which we can measure by determining its mass in relation to its volume. Because density can be measured, we know that it's a physical property. Changes that affect physical properties are called physical changes. With a physical change, we see that a substance changes form but does not transform into a different substance. For example, to use an egg in our recipe, we need to crack it open. This is a physical change because the egg is now in two parts. But the egg did not transform into a chicken or into any substance for that matter. It's still an egg. If we were to take our wooden spoon and grind it down to sawdust, we could see another example of physical change. The spoon would change form, but it would still be wood. Sometimes physical changes can be reversed, and sometimes they cannot. We just looked at two examples of physical changes that could not be reversed, namely the cracked egg and the ground-up wooden spoon. We learned from the Humpty Dumpty nursery rhyme that you cannot put a broken egg back together again. The same goes for the wooden spoon. It would be impossible to change the sawdust back into a wooden spoon. But don't get fooled into thinking that all physical changes are irreversible. In fact, many physical changes can be reversed. Remember that when a substance changes physically, it's still the same substance, just in a different form. Water turning into ice is a great example of a reversible physical change. Water, which we know is made up of 2 hydrogen molecules and 1 oxygen molecule, H2O, can be frozen, but that doesn't change the fact that it's still H2O. If you let it thaw, you could drink it again. Let's keep baking so we can learn about chemical properties, which are not as easy to see as physical properties. Chemical properties are characteristics of a substance that can only be observed during a reaction. For example, our wooden spoon will burn, but we can only know that for sure if we light it on fire and watch it burn. Once the wood burns, it transforms into ash. So we see that with chemical changes, a substance transforms into a different substance. In other words, the identity of the object that undergoes a chemical change gets altered. Wood changed into ash, which is an entirely new substance with new chemical properties. Once all the ingredients are mixed together, the batter is ready to be baked in the oven. After a short time in the oven, the batter turns into a different substance that smells really good, called cake. So we see that the heat from the oven created a chemical change, which resulted in a new substance. Because substances transform into new substances when they undergo chemical change, it's easy to see that most chemical changes are irreversible. It's no easier to unbake a cake than it is to unburn a wooden spoon. However, there are some chemical changes that are reversible. For example, when heat is applied to the reddish-brown gas known as nitrogen dioxide, it's chemically changed into 2 colorless gases called nitrogen monoxide and oxygen. If these gases are cooled, they will change back into the colored nitrogen dioxide gas. Let's review. Physical properties are characteristics that can be seen and measured. Changes that affect physical properties are called physical changes. With a physical change, a substance changes form but does not transform into a different substance. Many physical changes can be reversed, like water freezing to form ice, but some physical changes cannot, such as an egg being cracked or wood being ground into sawdust. Chemical properties are characteristics of a substance that can only be observed during a reaction. Changes that affect chemical properties are called chemical changes. With a chemical change, a substance transforms into a different substance. Most chemical changes are irreversible. For example, you cannot unbake a cake or unburn wood. However, there are some chemical changes that are reversible, such as nitrogen dioxide that is chemically changed by heat and then reforms when cooled.